Hey everybody, it's Matt and Jacey with Empire Algorithmic Trading here for our Monday edition of Vwapvision's Stock Talk.
It's where we use the volume weighted average price to analyze the market and individual stocks, and that's it. It's the easiest indicator and the best indicator to use. So let's get to it, Matt. Let's
Let's
talk some
go.
stock. All right.
Hey.
Hey, happy Monday, Matt. It is the day after the Players' Championship, which unfortunately I did get rained out of. I tried to stick it out, but I had a pretty long drive after that, and I had been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, and so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna call it good. But it was an exciting finish today. I saw Rory did win, so
Yeah.
that was good. That was good. It was a lot of fun. It's amazing how good those guys are, and they just make it look so easy. It's ridiculous. How about your Monday? How was your day?
Can't complain. A nice little St. Patty's Day. So, all in all, good day all around. Everybody's feeling festive and happy. So,
Hey, you know what? That's a good point. It must have been why we saw a lot of green on the market there. I forgot it is St. Patrick's Day, so shame on me. My grandmother, I think, just slapped me upside the head, even though she's been gone for some time. But shame on me. She was full blood Irish and very proud of that. So yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's take a look at some green. What we got going on. We did
woo.
actually by we actually did have some breakouts today, which was quite exciting. Um, let's just get the right list on here. Do. So yeah, we actually had some breakouts today. So a little signs of life coming along. A lot of stocks are stabilizing. Here we have the S&P 500 up a little over 0.6% today. As you can see, that lower line, a little bit above 5,500, is the long-term support VWAP that we've been looking for. The one around 5,600 there, that's a secondary VWAP. We were originally hoping would provide some support, but the market just blew right through it. So it's kind of become a little bit of resistance, which the market did close above. And then we also have the all-time high VWAP sitting at a little over 5,800. So we're showing some signs of life. We've got some leaders that have stabilized. Some energy stocks that I think are going to be potentially the new leaders. They're finding some footing. Some semiconductor stocks are finding some footing. Quite a few stocks on the watch list are kind of finding some stabilization. The cloud on the horizon is obviously what's going to happen with the Trump administration and tariffs. I know one of his advisors to say there's going to be tariff uncertainty, and as we know, the market doesn't do well with uncertainty. But how do you
Nope.
interpret that, right? Is that uncertainty that he's not going to follow through? Is he still there's still the hope that he's just using this as a negotiating ploy and he's going to pull back? But I think the cold reality is the uncertainty is how much more or what's going to happen after this. So I don't think the Trump administration or President Trump, I should say, since basically it's just him, is going to withdraw from this at this point. It's probably too far. And when you look at the psychology, it's probably too far committed to change course to try to save face. And so we're kind of locked into that. And so now the market can expect that, can kind of model that out, and we'll see what happens. It's everybody else that we got to protect or got to go against. Or like I said before, governing by tweet. So that's not our job. Our job isn't to parse the president of the United States. Our job isn't to try and guess and see what's going to happen in the future.
Nope.
We just analyze what's happening right now. And so right now, the simple truth is we're still in a correction. We have the S&P 500. We have all the major averages below their all-time high VWAPs. The good news and the positive signs are the uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Consolidation, the slight stabilization. That's what I was looking for, Matt. The stabilization that we've seen over the past week. The downside to that is the sequentially declining volume since the stocks have stabilized. We would like to see a little bit more. We did see some life on Friday that we talked about in the weekend review, how a lot of stocks showed some real big positive moves on increased volume from the day before. But the overall general market has been lower and lower volume as we've seen the market stop to sell off. So is that a sign that sellers are exhausted and the selling is done? Or is it a sign that they're just waiting? There's just waiting for more news, more guidance to unload some more. So it's not like anybody's rushing into support. We're right at a very pivotal point that can break either way. The overhead support that we're looking for is at 5,800, a little over the 5,800 mark on the S&P 500. What I would like to see is some more volume. I want to see some, whether it's on a down day, as long as it's not a drastic down day. I just want to see some activity, some volume lift up. It'll help pull that volume weighted average price down, which will increase the chance of us being able to get into a green zone, get above that level of resistance. So it would be nice to see some volume come in on buying, obviously. But I would just like to see some accumulation happen here, basically. And right now, we're not seeing that. We're just seeing stabilization in prices just due to a lack of activity. And so
It's
that doesn't
basically like
really.
the buyers and sellers are sitting across from each other in a poker match, waiting to see who's going to blink first.
Exactly right. That's exactly how it is. And you and I are sitting here watching, and there's millions of other people sitting there watching too. So
Mhm.
it's just going to be a stampede too. Once it goes, you got to get on it, right? And so don't second guess, don't doubt, don't go, I don't know. Because once this thing takes off, it's going to take off, and then more money is going to come into it. More money is going to come into it. So uh, there's always that trap. It might just be a false move, and then the sellers will then rush in. That's just part of the strategy of the markets, right? But as it is, we're just kind of holding steady. So not a lot. I'm not going to review. We're not going to look at any stocks. There really wasn't anything of significant of note that I noticed looking around. There were some good percentage moves, but they're pretty well deep in their bases. Everything like we reviewed kind of in the weekend in review kind of shows there's a lot of buying going on, a lot of stopping going on right at some long-term VWAPs. So, like you said, everybody's just kind of doing that waiting game. So, let's just take a look at what we got for the rest of the market. The S&P 500 was up 0.6%. The Nasdaq was the laggard, up 0.3% today. I kind of like the look of the Nasdaq here a little bit. Not that I'm saying, hey, is we're going to rush in. I just like how it's kind of holding right at this long-term VWAP, right around 17,500. It's a round number. 17,500 is round numbers usually hold up well psychologically. Plus, we've seen a little bit better volume action, some higher volume days in the Nasdaq versus the S&P 500. So I just kind of, I don't know, my instincts, I just see that, and I just kind of like the look of that chart a little bit better. The small caps are actually the small caps are looking pretty good right now too for being
Hey,
in a bear market.
yeah,
I'm really liking that look just simply because where this line is here on this chart here, that's the VWAP from its last all-time high breakout down here. That is a classic level of support for stocks that are in corrections. You take their previous high, their previous base is high, and you average that volume out after they run up, say 20, 30%, and they go to correct, they'll usually bottom out. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again. They'll usually start bottoming out and finding some footing. Now, it's not always a V, but it usually tends to be the floor, right? It tends to go through some volatility, some accumulation phases, but that tends to be a floor. So seeing the small caps literally kind of stop right above that level which
yeah,
is about 198-ish, and we're sitting at about 205 right now, but it's kind of been hovering around 200. That's a good look, right? So we've gone from kind of like, man, this doesn't look really good to okay,
yeah.
now we're starting to see a little bit of stabilization here. Like I said earlier, we want to start seeing some volume come into play. So it's just a wait, sit back and wait. Do I think we're out of the woods? No, I don't. That's just my instincts. Am I putting any trades on? No, I'm not because I'm just like we said, I'm just sitting back to watch. I want to see how this plays out and get a trend established, so then we know what's going on. And then same thing with the mid caps. The mid caps are a little bit different. I couldn't find a VWAP that coincided with some important highs. So what you always want to do when you're trying to set a VWAP and try and find where support's going to be, you want to look at peaks and valleys. And so you could go. There is a high in July of 23 that when I was doing some looking there is a VWAP there, but that's just kind of a random spot, right? I mean it does. There is resistance at that point. But the breaking of that resistance is usually where you want to set your anchors. When the stocks get through that, it's a new trend. That's where you set the anchor. Right where the mid caps are, there's really no level of support.
Huh.
So it's kind of interesting to see that go on there. But uh, it's just it's a secondary indicator. As far as the support level goes, what we're looking for is the resistance level, which is currently around 580. This index is trading around 483, the mid cap series trust. So that's kind of where we're at in the market. And of course, bonds. Bonds are very important. The interest rates are going to be a factor. We've got the Federal Reserve meeting this week, which is probably another reason why volume was pretty light today. And we're probably not going to see a lot of big action going on until the Federal Reserve announces their interest rates, I believe, on Wednesday. So, what's going to be important is what they say. The market always parses every word that the Federal Reserve puts out. So, if there's any sort of change in their economic readings, that's going to be what the market hangs their hat on. So, I'm pretty sure they're still going to hold interest rates steady. They've been very good about forecasting their moves, and they've been saying that they're just in a wait and see mode. So what's important is what they're seeing and what they say they're seeing. And so I think Wednesday is going to be a pretty pivotal day. It might be a breakout day. It might be a breakdown day. We'll see what happens.
Well, it'll be a lot of fun and something for us to look forward to this week too.
That's right. That's right. There's always something to look forward to, particularly with the market. And so, but in the meantime, it was nice seeing some breakouts. It's nice seeing some stocks find some support at the VWAPs, at the lower VWAPs. Now we want to start seeing some accumulation, some higher volume on the up days. So we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
All right. Well, that's really, really exciting stuff. Again, hold, hold the line. Don't
Hold the
throw everything
line.
in it right away. But
Yeah.
start thinking, start getting excited about this, and start kind of having your strategy, and start kind of replaying that over and over and over of how you're going to set your stop losses, how you're going to manage your risk. And get ready for this next hopeful green zone that we could potentially see by the end of the week, as long as things keep trending in this right direction. But again, we're in a volatile time.
Yeah.
We're in an unstable time. So we can't put too much on it yet, guys, but we're really, really pumped about it.
I did read, this is interesting. I did read that since I think it was 1950, the first 50 days of a president's term and the stock and the S&P 500, I think 14 of the 16 or 12 of the 14 times that predicted the rest of the year. And
Hmm.
so that's an interesting. So you've got a couple of long-term trends. You have the Nasdaq Composite living below its 200-day moving average, and it's been doing that for 2 weeks. If the last several times the Nasdaq doesn't recover from the 200-day moving average break, within 2 weeks, it's been a very disastrous year for the Nasdaq. I'm talking 20 to 40% declines. And then you
Wow.
add the historical trend of the first 50 days of a president's term, 14 of 16 or 12 or 14, one of those numbers, but it's a pretty high probability. That forecasts what's going to happen for the rest of the year. And obviously, the S&P is down in the first 50 days of President Trump's term. So there's some historical trends that we are fighting against. Not to mention our past research and our analysis of the previous bear market that literally right at the 10% decline, the market rallied hard right to the VWAP, actually had a little bear trap action, and then it sold off for another 2 years. So, there is precedent. There's a lot of signs there saying, yeah, man, don't go jumping in. Take this with a grain of salt. Be ready for some more downside action, but don't set yourself in stone, right? Don't put that all those thoughts in your mind. You want to be reactive. Like I said before, when this thing goes, there's a lot of people watching. If it goes one direction, it's probably going to go that way for some time. So let's just sit back, relax. That's why we have a computer program that watches it for us. Now, we've done all the work over the weekend. We updated the watch list. We ran our screens. We checked everything. So we've got a really solid list of high fundamentally sound, strong stocks. So there's a pretty stringent screening process that we run through. And so I feel pretty confident about the watch list that we have. And I'm really happy to see that we're starting to see some breakouts before the S&P is creeping up towards, or before the S&P gets over his 500, because that's what we want to see. We want to see leaders lead, because that's why they're called leaders, right? And
Right.
so our red zone breakouts have held up remarkably well, which is amazing. For the few amount that we've had, right? We only had, I think, 10 or 12 in the past 3 weeks, which is really, really small for the algorithm. So it's nice to see a little bit of action there. It's nice to see those hold up. And so we're gonna, when it goes, we'll see plenty of opportunities. They will all start hitting, boom, 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 and it'll be quite fun when it rolls. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, keep your powder dry, and then when it's ready, we'll be ready for you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm really excited about that. I love the keep your powder dry analogy. That's fantastic, especially after you got soaked over the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely staying dry. That's, it was kind of fun. I was sitting there and I'm like, man, uh, you know, 20 years ago, I probably would have been like, it's cool. I'm just gonna hang out here, get completely drenched. But I'm like, you know what? You're not 20 anymore, man. So let's just, we don't have to suffer through this. It's okay. It's okay. So it was still a lot of fun. What a beautiful golf course. Just an amazing area, and the crowds are great, and of course the golf that I did see was spectacular. So it was a lot of fun. Well, in the meantime, Matt, as always, I was happy to see you. It was good talking to you today, and we also have Arrow Review for our paid subscribers. So where can everybody find?
Absolutely. Well, if you are not a paid subscriber, make sure you do go over to our Patreon and click that subscribe button where you get access to our daily Arrow reviews, where you get access to that stock list that JC was talking about, our watch list that our algorithm combs through every single day and finds the big winners and losers for us. Uh, Patreon.com/ Empire Algorithmic Trading. Otherwise, here on Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on both of those platforms. Follow us on our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X. And if you just want to know a little more about us and who we are, go to Vwapvision.com. That's VWAP Vision.com. And you can learn a little bit more about us there. But with all of that being said, everybody, we always want to say happy trading.
Happy trading, everybody. All right, Matt. We'll talk to you during Arrow Review. See you in a little bit.
See you soon.
All right, bye.